There are a lot of VR games. Good or bad, there have been a ridiculous number of VR games released in a relatively short period of time. Rhythm games in particular are a pretty saturated genre in VR. It can be pretty hard to wade through and find some of the better games, so we decided to look through some of the most popular VR rhythm games and rank them from worst to best. Against brings up the bottom of the list just because on nearly every metric it's just not a good game. It tries to take the elements of other popular rhythm games and merge them into a first-person rhythm combat, but it fails on nearly every front. The combat feels like an amalgamation of other games in the genre, but the execution is way worse. The songs are terrible, and often the rhythm in which you need to cut, shoot, or punch does not line up with the rhythm of the song. The only thing the game really succeeds at are the environments and the comic book style cutscenes that accompany the "so bad it's good" story. We have a full review of Against that we'll link down in the description, but ultimately Against is not worth your time or money. Luckily, starting with Synth Riders, every other game on this list is at least decent. Synth Riders is just one of many VR rhythm games that copy the Audio Shield formula, but it's certainly the best of the bunch. The music is decent, and there are a good amount of genres to choose from. The environments are also great. My personal favorite was a retro-futuristic city with flying cassette tapes instead of clouds. The gameplay, arguably the most important part, also felt pretty good. Everything was tight and responsive, and it gets you moving more than any other VR rhythm game. If you're looking for a rhythm game that will give you a good workout, this is probably the one. My only complaint is that the movements are based on dancing, so you'll probably look pretty silly playing it unless you have some sweet moves of your own to add in. Pistol Whip is probably in the top 2 most popular VR rhythm games, and for good reason. It fuses the rhythm and first-person shooter genres and does both surprisingly well. The music is pretty solid, and even though most of it isn't really my type of music, it's all still really well made and avoids being generic. The environments and enemies look cool, and the art style is great. The best part is easily the combat, and even though the auto aim is so strong, you still feel like an absolute beast making trick shots from across the map. Pistol Whip is another one of those games that really gets you moving, so not only does the combat feel clean, it's also exhilarating. Anybody who loves VR first-person shooters like Superhot will probably have Pistol Whip as their rhythm game of choice. Ragnarok and Pistol Whip are pretty closely tied in my opinion, but Ragnarok just barely edges it out for a couple reasons. Firstly, the Viking aesthetic is just too cool. It feels so sick being on a Viking ship sailing through old Norse realms, all the while wailing on the drums to some sick Viking metal. Secondly, Ragnarok has, in my opinion, some of the best non-DLC songs of any VR rhythm game, plus the ability to import custom beat maps. The aforementioned environments are also a huge part of what makes this game so cool. Each one is based on Norse mythology, and they are all well crafted and look amazing. That said, depending on who you ask, the gameplay may not be as engaging as other titles. As someone who grew up with rhythm games like Guitar Hero, Beatmania, and more recently Sound Voltex, I really like the notes on a highway style of gameplay, and I think it ties in nicely with the idea of being a drummer on a Viking ship. However, some might not find this gameplay style as engaging or dynamic as other VR rhythm games. Thumper is a hard title to describe. It's weird, it's abstract, and it's a hybrid between a rhythm game and an on-rails racing game. When I first played Thumper years ago, I played it without VR on a flat screen and was mildly entertained but ultimately didn't care for it too much. Once I tried it in VR, my opinion completely changed. Thumper is now one of my personal favorite VR games, and it's impossible to overstate just how unique of an experience it really is. Thumper is addicting, satisfying, and mesmerizing. Because of its abstract nature, it's hard to call Thumper the best rhythm game in VR, but it is absolutely one of the best experiences VR has to offer so far, and anybody with a VR headset should absolutely give it a shot. The only real downside of Thumper is that, aside from hardly being a true rhythm game, it's much better on a traditional gamepad rather than VR controllers. Like pretty much every other VR gamer, we put BeatSafer in our #1 spot for the best rhythm game on the platform. Simple, satisfying, and incredibly addicting, BeatSafer really showcases how great a rhythm game can be with VR and motion controls. The visual effects and environments also complement the electronic music incredibly well, and the presentation is fantastic and never gets old. I'm not the biggest fan of the music included in the original soundtrack, but one way that BeatSafer really shines above other rhythm games on the list is its massive library of custom beat maps. I personally opted to download a bunch of custom maps from rhythm games I already play, like DJ Max or Sound Voltex, and it's incredibly fun and satisfying to play those tracks in BeatSafer. One more thing worth noting about BeatSafer is that it really does have something for everyone. The skill floor is low and the skill ceiling is incredibly high, making it very easy to learn and very difficult to master. It's certainly one of the best VR games thus far and easily takes the spot for the best VR rhythm game. Do you agree with our list? What's your favorite VR rhythm game? Let us know in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like this video, make sure to check out our full review of Against for more VR rhythm game action.